It's Wolf, and it's a live stream. Here I am. Um, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, but this time I'm playing it on Xbox Series X. I actually have a lot of stuff to talk about in this stream. Mostly like gaming stuff and then like stuff about the channel. But anyway, I want to show you guys this funny screen I got. So, when I've streamed Black Ops Cold War before, I've gotten similar screens to this where the game will launch and it will prompt you if there's certain aspects of the game that you haven't played a long time. It'll suggest like, hey, maybe you want to delete that and save some space. So this is the very first time I've ever played the game on Xbox Series X. I've played Cold War a bunch on PlayStation 5. I've played it a little bit on PS4, even played it a little bit on Xbox One. Um, Literally, this is the second time I've launched it on Series X, though, because I just launched it to make sure everything was working a little bit ago. And it says that I haven't played the campaign in over 60 days since November 19th, 2021 at 2:27 p.m. And I I I'm confused as to where it got that number from. Because like a long time ago when I had streamed Cold War before, Cold War Zombies before, I had gotten similar screens where it was like it would say that I hadn't done something in a while, even though I had like just done it. So the only thing that I can think of is that like maybe this is a cross gen thing, because like I'm or a cross like platform thing, because I think I have the same Activision account hooked up to both Xbox and PlayStation. And so I'm guessing maybe it got that data from the last time I played the campaign on PS4, or I mean PS5. But I think I've played it more recently than that. Although I didn't realize that it has been a while since oh god, now it's loading all the operator screens again. It's been a while since this game came out. I didn't realize this game came out in 2020 until I was setting up the stream and it said that this game came out in 2020. Um, but yeah. Also, am I in the right FPS? Something seems wrong here. Hang on. No, that's 60 FPS. It looked like 30 for a second on my screen. Anyway, so I am just gonna play some Die Machine, and there's not really any specific reason why I'm doing this stream. I just kind of like the idea popped into my head, so I was like, you know what, might as well do a stream. And also, like, I haven't really done that much on the channel lately, so figured I might as well. Also, just as a heads up, I have some family visiting, so if you guys hear me like mute or pause really quick, that's just because like one of my family members might have asked where something was or whatever. Anyway, though, so I've played a lot of Cold War Zombies before. The reason why I called this the Christmas in July stream, this is not like an actual take on the Christmas stream or anything. Don't worry, that's still a once a year thing. But I thought it would be funny because like this is kind of a thing that I traditionally do on Christmas, is like the stream of Call of Duty Zombies, and usually it ends up being at least partially Cold War. I think there's only been 1 year where I didn't play any Cold War Zombies. Um, Normally I do, though, just because that's kind of how I started it. And also, Die Machine is like, it's not really Christmas themed, but like there's snow around, so it's like kind of Christmas ish. Um, but since I was playing Cold War Zombies and it's July and Christmas in July is a thing, and also normally I stream Cold War Zombies on Christmas, I figured that would be a fun title for the stream. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm so tired out. I was on my feet for probably like over 12 hours straight today. Um, but yeah, so something interesting that I wanted to talk about in relation to Cold War Zombies and just Black Ops Cold War in general. When I finally found the copy of this, it reminded me of a story that I wanted to tell, and initially I was like, okay, cool, I can tell it around Christmas. And I was like, wait, dude, Christmas is like 6 months away. Like, I don't want to wait that long to tell the story. So if you guys remember the Christmas stream from last year, I think it was this previous year. I was like, I've since I have done Cold War Zombies like every year, I kind of want to change it up sometimes, and so I'll play it on like different consoles. So I played it on PS5 a couple times, but then I also played it on PS4, and then I was gonna try to play it on Xbox Series X. But last year, what ended up happening was I bought the copy of it, and the case of it said, it either said just Xbox or it said Xbox One and Xbox Series X, which a lot of like Xbox games from this kind of like intergenerational time period do. Um, and the thing is, a lot of Xbox games that are on Xbox One and Xbox Series X, they have uh, cross or not cross. They have smart delivery, so it's the same disc. You buy the disc and you can play it on either console, and it will just like download the proper version of the game. And so I had assumed that that was the case with this game as well. Until I got the game home and like looked closer at the case and realized that it said Xbox One game playable on Xbox Series X, and I thought that was strange, because I was like, wait a minute, this has an Xbox Series X version, because like I know there's a PS4 and a PS5 version, because the PS4 in like PlayStation doesn't have anything like cross delivery. Like the games are very clearly marked for one console or the other. Sometimes the PS4 ones will say they have like a PS5 upgrade or whatever, but like the cases look different. Like it's they're blue cases, but the PS5 games have like a white insert, whereas the PS4 games have like a blue insert. Um, so you can tell. So anyway, I knew that there was an Xbox Series X version of the game that was not just the Xbox One version, like on next gen, through backwards compatibility. And then I ended up looking into it online, and it turns out, so even though the case looks extremely similar, there are two different physical versions of this game. One doesn't say anything about like being Xbox Series X, but it has a little note in the bottom that says Xbox One game playable on Xbox Series X. That is the Xbox One version of it. And then there is, in fact, a smart delivery version of it that actually, hang on, let me go grab the case real quick and tell you guys what it says. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, that took a little bit longer than I expected it to. Sorry, it's really late. I'm really tired. Um, but I got the case. Like I said, I had some family visiting, so I had to help with something real quick. But so on the Xbox Series X version, it says in the bottom right corner there's a box that says Xbox Series X plus Xbox One games included. This is the smart delivery version. So this is the version that actually has the Xbox Series X version on it. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Because I just thought that was an interesting concept, and kind of frankly really annoying actually, that it operates that way, because I don't think I've seen. Is it part of an Easter egg? Um, I don't think I've seen any other Xbox Series X like games operate that way, especially the ones that have smart delivery. Um, so yeah, I don't I don't know why they built that way. It's really annoying. I mean, I well no, because I was gonna say, did it come out on Xbox One first before launch of Series X? But I don't think it did. I'm pretty sure Cold War came out after the Series X was launched. Anyway, that's the only thing that would explain it. But um, so anyway, yeah, that was one of the things that wanted to mention on the stream tonight. Another thing though too is, so the title of the stream, like I said, Christmas in July, just kind of like as a hee hee ha ha, but it had me thinking. I I have no idea what Christmas in July actually is. Um, I feel like it's something that exists in the U.S., but I've never really understood what the concept of it is. Like, I there's a lot of holidays that I feel like people are like, oh, that holiday only exists because like companies use it to market stuff. And I know that like Valentine's Day is the one that a lot of people talk about that way. They're like, the only reason Valentine's Day is such a big deal is because like companies market stuff with it, blah blah blah. And I'm not really like I don't really agree with that. I think that a lot of modern holidays have some sort of historical background. But the only one that I do agree with that for is Christmas in July, because I I've never heard of anybody who actually celebrates it. I've only ever seen it as an advertising thing for companies. Um and frankly, I just don't understand the concept. Like, I get that like it's the midway point between, Christmas. It's the midway point, like 6 months, like since Christmas, and 6 months till next Christmas. Um which, funny enough, the stream actually is on the 20. Is today the 26th? Yeah, it's the 26th right now as I stream this, so it's like actually almost exactly 6 months since Christmas and 6 months till Christmas. Um, by like off by one day, but anyway. So the thing is, like, I get that aspect of it, but I don't really understand what the concept is supposed to be. Does anybody actually celebrate Christmas in July? And if you do, is it just another Christmas? Do you just give gifts again and stuff? Because I feel like that's almost a little greedy. You can only expect Santa to do so much. Dude's probably busy right now. He's got to make toys and stuff for like actual Christmas. Um, but yeah, that was just another thing I wanted to mention. I really don't understand the idea of Christmas in July. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but the other thing too is like it's a totally different atmosphere in the world in most places. Like, in the U.S. at least, it's gonna be cold and snowy most places. Well, not everywhere, but a lot of places for Christmas, and that's kind of the whole aspect of Christmas, right? Is like it's cold and snowy, and you're gonna stay inside around the fire with your family and that kind of thing. Whereas July is not like that in most places, at least in the U.S. I know that like the southern hemisphere is the opposite or whatever, but like I don't know. I feel like the vibe is entirely different. And I don't understand it. But I've said that enough times throughout the stream. Um, this month has actually been this month has been pretty cool, but this month has also been kind of stressful. Um, I did a stream like 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and I talked a little bit about like what I had been up to, and I had just gotten back from visiting my girlfriend, so that was fun. I went to visit her at the beginning of the month, but man, this month has been expensive for me. I had to spend a lot more money on some stuff than I expected. I've mentioned before the sleep apnea thing, and ever since my girlfriend told me that I overshare on stream, I've been trying to not mention so much of like my health stuff. Um, but so I have mild sleep apnea. I got diagnosed with it a little while back, a couple weeks ago, I guess, like a month ago or whatever at this point. And there's a couple different ways to treat it, and like a lot of people use CPAP machines, but if you have mild sleep apnea, you can try other things too. So I ended up getting a mandibular adjustment device, which is pretty much like a mouth guard that pushes your lower jaw forward when you sleep to help you breathe better when you sleep, because that's what sleep apnea is it's when you stop breathing in your sleep too many times. Um, and so I decided to go for that instead of the CPAP machine because it's easier for me. I already had a mouth guard for bruxism, which is when you grind your teeth, which, interesting enough, sleep apnea can cause bruxism, so there's that. But I was already used to sleeping with one, and CPAPs seem like kind of a pain to travel with. And I don't travel that much, but like my girlfriend does live in another country, so so I went with the mandibular adjustment device. The only thing that sucks about it is that insurance doesn't usually cover those, and I don't know if there may be a way for me to try to see if I can like retroactively get some coverage from my insurance for this, because my insurance actually is pretty good through my job. But the thing is, like, without insurance, so I had to pay out of pocket for it, like up front. And like I said, there's a possibility I might be able to get like a refund or whatever a little bit through my insurance. But anyway, for this little mouth guard, it cost almost $3,000. Yeah. And the thing is, that was actually cheaper than some of the quotes that I had gotten. When I went to see my sleep specialist, he actually quoted me a price that was higher than that for some of the dentists he works with. But luckily, my normal dentist actually can do fittings for those, and so I was able to get it cheaper because my normal dentist is awesome, by the way. Like, that dude is like prime. That dude is awesome at his job. But anyway, so I was able to get through my normal dentist for slightly cheaper, but it was still really expensive. So that kind of like, yeah, that was, I mean, I'm glad that I've been saving money up, because that would have sucked to have to like ask family for help or whatever with that. But that kind of like wiped out all the money I had been saving up. And then also when I went to see my girlfriend, I ended up like spending some money too, because, well, I was on vacation. I didn't spend as much as I actually thought I was going to end up spending, but still ended up spending quite a bit. So yeah, I'm not like totally broke, but I'm trying to like recuperate my savings now, which is not necessarily like an easy thing to do, especially because I don't really make like a ton of money, and I don't have that many bills, but I have some bills. So yeah, that's been what I've been up to lately. And yeah, this month otherwise too has just been a little bit anxious for like various reasons. My girlfriend and I both are kind of going through it a little bit right now, just trying to figure out like life. Nothing like too crazy horrible or anything has been going on, but I think both of us are just kind of trying to figure out like what we want to do for jobs and things like that, and so that's been kind of stressful. Yeah, and then just some other various like real life things, but it's not really been anything like too crazy. Yeah. And then in general, I'm just kind of an anxious dude. I've started to notice like there's some things that really kind of get like under my skin more than they probably should. And I don't really know why, but yeah, sometimes they do. So that's yeah. Some cool news though today actually. I managed to get another computer, and it's a computer that I've been looking for a while. So I want to tell you guys about that as well, because that might show up on the channel. I'm not totally sure. I still have some work to do with it, but you guys know through my job I'm able to get some pretty cool like media technology stuff, and like I have a really good discount, etc., etc. Well, so I can't really explain like exactly what my discount is or like where I work, for privacy, and because like some like the discount thing is part of the employee manual to not talk about like how it works. But oh crap, I missed the thing. I'm gonna have to do that again, I think.
Strike team, report. What the hell just happened?
Yeah, I didn't get the pack-a-punch open like I wanted to. Then I have the points to go into the tunnel. Okay, well anyway, we can get it open later on. Yeah, so through my job I was able to get another computer to add to the collection, but I think I actually am like done legitimately now with computers, like with the computers I was trying to get, because I've got a handful of Macs that do kind of everything that I wanted a Mac to do, and the only thing was like I just didn't really have a good Windows computer. I've got a couple Windows computers, but none of them really do quite what I needed them to do. I've got that little B-Link mini PC. That's the one that I use for all the Club Penguin stuff, and that works great for the Club Penguin stuff. But it's not very powerful at all. So like anything past the Club Penguin stuff, it's not that good at. Like even the Free Realms video I made on there, you could probably tell that the computer was like almost struggling a little bit to run the open source Free Realms. So you know, that one's not perfect, although it works for some stuff. And then I've got my iMac that I have Windows on Boot Camp on there, and that one works pretty well for a lot of stuff too. To be honest though, that iMac though hasn't really done exactly anything that I've really wanted it to do. And there's a part of me that is considering getting rid of it because now I have a Windows computer that I believe will be able to do all the stuff that I actually wanted to do with it. But originally the idea for that iMac was it's compatible with an older version of Mac OS. And so I was going to... Hang on, I gotta go... Oh, okay, I saved a screenshot. Man, I have to go wipe my nose. This always happens when I'm streaming, but I will be right back. I am right back. Take that off of there and back into the game. So I was talking about computers. So the iMac, yeah, that runs Windows, and actually that was pretty capable of a good number of games, but like some of the ones that I was wanting to play were still not quite running as I wanted them to. And then the other, like I've got a handful of other computers, but the other kind of somewhat regularly usable one. Oh, okay, I guess my screenshot has been uploaded to the Xbox network. uh, the other one is my Dell Inspiron. Oh, I can reopen the anomaly now. Is my Dell Inspiron 7000 gaming. I've mentioned that on the channel throughout the years. That was the computer that I used for most of everything up until just a couple of years ago. You know, I don't ever use this rifle. I kind of want to use this one. So that was the one that I used for pretty much everything up until I got the Mac Studio that I use now for everything, like a year ago or whatever it was. And I recently like went through, did the whole process of like wiping the hard drive and factory resetting that one to new and everything. But even still, it's not like, I don't really understand what the issue is with that computer, but something seems wrong with it. And I've always kind of hesitated to speak, to speak negatively about that computer because like it was pretty expensive when I got it, and it was a gift from my mom. So I don't like want to say that it's like a bad computer or anything, but just nothing has ever seemed quite right with that computer. There's always been like various issues with it. So like I ran into problems with it with like there was like some sort of like BIOS issue where it would shut off, and there was screen issues, and the fan was always kicking up a ton, and like when I looked online, it seemed like other people who owned that computer had the same issues. So the thing was like it could do everything it was advertised to do, but it just didn't really seem like it ever did them quite right. So that one is also another one that I don't really use that much, although it was useful recently. I had, when I went to visit my girlfriend, I actually brought a VHS-C camcorder, and we recorded some like home videos, and I was going to digitize them through my Elgato, and for some reason my Elgato Game Capture HD was not wanting to cooperate with my Mac Pro, so I had to whip out the old Windows computer and digitize them that way. But anyway, so yeah, that computer does stuff, but it's just not quite the one that I wanted to use. So, long story short, to get to the point of this story, I ended up finding a CyberPower PC pre-built. Well, I didn't really find it. It just kind of popped up through my job. and it has an i7. I don't remember exactly which model, but an i7 and a 1080 Ti graphics card, GTX 1080 Ti graphics card, and I haven't really been able to do that much with it yet. But let me just tell you guys, 10 years ago, this is the computer that I would have wanted to have. I looked up I looked up what it was and managed to find some like Reddit posts and stuff from like back when it came out, and people were saying that it was like a pretty good computer back when it came out. And it was pretty expensive when it first came out. Between the weirdly low price it was already at and then my employee discount and everything, I was able to get it for like less than the price of a 1080 Ti alone. So that's pretty good. And the only thing was it was kind of dusty. I actually had to like physically like clean it off. I had to get some compressed air and like some wet wipes and like remove a ton of dust from it. But really, it was actually not in as bad of condition as it initially seemed when I first got it. So that took a little while. So the next steps of what I want to do with it though are I want to replace the SSD in it, because I usually try to do that when I get a new computer that it's possible to replace the SSD in, just as a little bit of a security thing, because like even if a drive has been wiped, if somebody downloaded like a real nasty virus or something, some of that stuff can still kind of linger. So I want to get a new SSD, and plus the one that it has right now is not very big. So I want to get a new SSD for it, and I probably get 500 gigabytes or maybe 1 terabyte. A lot of the games that I play on Windows, like I don't really play modern games on Windows. I have like a very specific era of games that I play on PC, and then like some newer free-to-play games. But anyway, so I want to get new SSD for it, which shouldn't be that hard to do. You can like literally buy those at like Walmart now, which is nice. So probably do that soon. And then I want to possibly replace the CPU cooler. I didn't realize, but until after I already bought it, but it's actually water cooled, and water cooling is okay, but I've always been a little hesitant about it just because I've heard too many horror stories, especially like water cooling is not such a big thing now, but when I was in like high school or even more so like middle school, water cooling was a pretty big deal. And I remember hearing some horror stories from some friends who had some nice computers back then that you know, just like stuff going wrong with water cooling and them getting like water or whatever cooling liquid they were using all over their floor. It is a very small water cooler, so I don't think it would actually have that much in it. And that being said, I'm not even entirely sure if there is anything in it, because it's, you know, a pretty old computer at this point. But I want to replace the CPU cooler on there. I think probably just get like a massive, just normal fan for it. I don't really care like if I have to screw with the case or not. It's fine if I have to Frankenstein it a little bit, because this case has like a bunch of pieces that I can like open up and take off of it if the airflow gets screwed up if I do that. But honestly, even if the water cooler is empty though, it appears that the water cooling fans all still like are very strong. So I think that it still is all right for now. But yeah, I haven't really done anything other than clean it off and kind of turn it on and test it. I wanted to make sure that I got the key for Windows, because when I install a new SSD in it, I'll have to reinstall Windows onto that. And I know for a lot of pre-builts, the Windows key is like built into like the motherboard or whatever. But I wasn't totally sure, so I wanted to go and do that. And you can do that through like a command prompt command. So I did that, got the key for that written down, and now I can just replace that SSD. I'm not sure when I'll do that, because as I said, I kind of spent like a crap load of money lately and really don't want to keep spending money. But I also would really kind of like to get that computer I mean, I don't really have to fix anything with it. I just kind of want to like get it into the condition I want it to be in, because I really want to use it. I think I've told this story before. I've told this story numerous times. I know there's a lot of things that I repeat myself with in the streams, but given that usually nobody's really watching them live, I feel pretty confident that whenever I say these things again, there's somebody that hasn't heard them before. But when I got the Dell Inspiron that I mentioned earlier, however many years ago, that was supposed to be like, you know, really nice computer and everything. I actually was going to get a different computer, but they didn't have any in stock that day. I bought it at a Best Buy. Or, well, my mom bought it for me at a Best Buy. It was kind of an emergency thing. My other computer had broken, and I needed one for college because I was, like, just starting college. So, I ended up getting that Dell instead. But originally, the one that I was going to get was one that was, like, totally, like, souped up, max specs, everything, and it wasn't even that much more expensive. It was an HP Omen. But since they didn't have any in stock, I didn't really have a choice. So this desktop that I got now has the specs pretty much that computer would have had, actually even better specs. So yeah, I'm looking forward to using that because like there's a lot of games. I actually have quite a few games on Steam that I've accumulated just over the years, mostly through CD keys and stuff actually. Not the website either. I mean like literal physical CD keys. There's a lot of things that I've accumulated that way, and just like a lot of games that I own that I've just never really played because even though they run on the Dell, they just like the fan would be so loud and it just would not be fun to play because I couldn't hear it. So like Max Payne 3, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I mean heck even Fortnite, like I think there's a lot of Roblox. Why not? There's a lot of things that I would like to play on there that I think I'll be able to play because from what I can tell, 1080 Ti and i7 is still a pretty solid combo. You're not necessarily going to be able to play the newest stuff, but like everything that I would want to play, I should be able to play. The other thing too is I believe that the specs that computer has should work for emulation stuff. Which is cool because I've kind of wanted to find a computer that I could set up as like a little bit of an emulation station and dump some of my own games and kind of hook it up as like a big like console for myself. So it's looking like I might be able to do that with it too. I'll have to test that out, but it would be really cool if I could because my PS3 collection in particular, I'd really like to get a lot of those games dumped and have those just kind of at the ready. But also like PS2 and some other consoles too that I have. So yeah, I think that's actually that. I had a lot more to say about the computer than I initially anticipated that I would. But that is the status of the new computer I bought. I still got a little bit of work to do with it, but once it's finished, I think it'll be cool. And who knows, I might even be able to do some streams of PC games with it. I've tried to do that before, but it's never really quite worked out. But since this is a desktop, I should be able to hook it up to the Elgato and everything, just like I would with a console, and then just do like a double PC stream because I stream from my Mac Studio. And that would be really cool because I could maybe I could do Defiance again, or Mars, or maybe Call of Duty from PC, some stuff like that. It'd be fun to do some mods possibly. Call of Duty World at War has some zombies mods. That's been a pretty big thing there. Or Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas has a lot of mods. Uh-oh, this is very bad. I'm going to start another match, but I'm not really sure how long I'm going to play for. Although this stream actually has not been that long yet. I thought I'd stream longer than half an hour. There was another talking point too that I had that I wanted to mention, but I'm forgetting what it was. Oh, well, so another thing that I've been doing lately is I've been trying to catch up on everything. I've been working on that for a while. But you know, I mentioned like kind of ever since the beginning of the year I've been working on just kind of putting my life together a little bit. Not like my life was like messy beforehand. But I've been working a lot more on kind of organizing myself because throughout high school, college, I just never had the time to really organize myself. So I've finally got like my whole game collection all organized. That's been nice, and I've got like I finished reading all like I've been well, it was mostly just one book, Julian Comstock. I finished reading Julian Comstock. I finished watching a bunch of TV series that I was watching. I finished a bunch of games that I've been playing, all that stuff. I just went through and got all of it done with to kind of get it off my mind, and I think I'm kind of on the last step of that stuff finally, which is, as silly as it may sound, my Netflix watch list. It's not that big, but there's a handful of shows that I started and just never finished watching, and I've kind of been trying to work on finishing watching those. Because I feel kind of silly to say this, but it kind of stresses me out sometimes when I start like a TV show or a video game or whatever, and I don't really finish it. So I've been working on going through Netflix and doing that, and also finishing Death Stranding again. I bought Death Stranding 2, and I wanted to finish playing Death Stranding 1 again before I played through Death Stranding 2, because it's been a while since I played through the first one. But I forgot kind of how long that game is. That being said, I don't really think it'll take me that long to finish it, because I remember when it first came out hearing all these people say that it was like this extremely long game, and I didn't really think it took me that long to finish it. But we'll see how it goes this time. I think I'm like halfway through it. But in terms of my Netflix watch list, I've just recently finished watching a couple things. There's a couple movies on there that I watched. There was one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's one that Netflix suggested to me and probably suggested to a lot of people, but it's about a lady who is like stuck at sea in a container. I watched that. That one kind of freaked me out a little bit. It was kind of, that one wasn't gory, but it had a little bit of body horror that I wasn't really expecting. And then I also watched Zom 100, List of the Dead, I think is the title of it. It's a Japanese movie. It's about zombie apocalypse, and this guy with like this crappy job realizes that it's like his opportunity to actually go have fun in life. Watched that. That was a pretty good one. I like that one, although that was a long movie. That was like a 2-hour movie. And then I finished watching Captain Fall, which I remember I watched like the first episode or two of that like a while ago, probably like over a year ago. And I remember starting it and being like, oh, this is kind of interesting, but I don't really know if this is my thing. But honestly, after watching through the rest of the season, it grew on me quite a bit. A lot, like the characters grew on me a lot. So it's kind of sad that show got canceled. I found out, I read the Wikipedia page for it, that apparently they had plans for a second season, but Netflix canceled it, so it's kind of up in the air. And supposedly the second season is like done, they just don't have anybody to distribute it. But it would be cool if the second season of that show actually does come out eventually, because I would like to see what happens. It doesn't really end on a cliffhanger, but it ends on like a interesting hanger, like enough to keep me wanting to know what would happen next. And then right now I'm trying to finish watching 2020 Japan Sinks, I think was the name of it. It's an anime movie. It's about like natural disaster hits Japan, and it's about this like family that's trying to survive and stuff. And you know, that one has some pretty negative reviews and stuff, but I've got to say, like, okay. The thing is, the first 2 episodes of that anime kind of lull you into a sense of security, and do not trust it. The first 2 episodes gave me the vibe that the show is going to be about, like, you know, the beauty of reconnecting with nature and reconnecting with your family and friends away from technology when it doesn't exist. Because that's kind of how the first, like, 2 episodes go. And then the end of the second episode, something insane happens out of nowhere. And totally changes the vibe of the show. And like, one of the negative reviews that I've seen about that show a lot is a lot of people saying, like, that characters die too much or characters die too unexpectedly, and I agree with that, but I also don't, because I think it's kind of on purpose that, like, a bunch of the characters in the show die sort of without, like, much explanation or talking, because I think it really demonstrates like just how dangerous like a apocalyptic event can be. But like, I was trying to think of what example I could give before I did the stream today to sort of explain what I'm talking about. By the way, 3 concurrent viewers. This is a record. Thank you guys for watching. So in one of the episodes, there's a character that has, and I'm gonna try to like say as little as possible to avoid spoiling much. But there's a character that has a pretty big event happen that they like kind of have to get through. And so like a big portion of the episode is focused on that one character getting through this thing. And it's like probably half the episode or more that's like that, and then that ends, and then it kind of, the show moves on. And then that character wanders off in the wrong direction for all of about 5 seconds and breathes in some poisonous volcanic dust and just dies. Like, this character that just had this major development literally just drops dead. And that's it. That's all that there is for that character. Like, the other characters kind of freak out and they're like, oh my god, no. But the character is literally just dead. It's really hard hitting in a lot of ways, even though it's kind of like silly in some ways to just kind of have a character that was so important 10 seconds ago just drop dead. It also really kind of hits you and is one of those things that I think kind of, I don't know, makes you feel like how important life is, how fleeting life is. Yeah, so that's that. The episodes of that show, if I remember right, are also relatively short. I think they're closer to 20 minutes as compared to a lot of shows being like 30 minutes. So, I actually might even be able to finish watching most of that after I finish the stream tonight. But I want to finish watching that. I also have Wednesday in my watch list, but, I think the only other show that I have on there that I started and didn't finish is The Uncanny Counter. When I saw the first season of that, I watched through pretty much the whole thing in like one sitting, over a couple days. But that was like the only show I watched. I kind of watched that straight through. And I enjoyed it, although I thought the first season was a little weird because it's like, I don't know, I thought it was going to be more of like a villain of the week type show, and it wasn't. But I liked it. So when the second season came out, I started watching that as well. And if I remember right, that was like back when I was in grad school in the UK, I started watching that. And then I don't remember what happened. I just kind of fell out of watching it. I think I just got too busy with like school and stuff. So I stopped watching it. So now I'm trying to pick it up again because I only have like 4 more episodes of it. So I want to try to finish watching that soon too. That's one of the shows though that it's hour-long episodes. So even though there's only 4 episodes left, it's like 4 hours worth of episodes. So that might take a little while. And then I have some other shows saved too, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head really. So, yeah. Anyway, part of the reason why I'm telling you guys that is because that is part of why I haven't really been working on a lot, because I'm just truly trying to like clear my headspace. So once I get all of that done, I really want to start working on the Club Penguin project that I mentioned a few times. That has shifted to be a lot smaller in scale, but I still want to get that done with, because that involves, I don't want to spoil it, but that involves quite a bit of reading, so I want to do that. I really want to do a playthrough again soon. I was looking at the Wolf's Long Plays channel the other day, and I didn't realize that it's been like a year since I uploaded a long play on there, so I really want to do another one of those soon. I think, as weird as it may sound, I'd kind of like to do Fast and Furious Showdown just because it's a strange game. But it's not good, but it's not that bad if you pay the right price for it. It's got some interesting concepts. So, want to do that. Would like to save up some money, get an upscaler, so I could stream from some older consoles and stuff. I have an idea, I think I mentioned it last stream, but do like a game roulette because I have such a big game collection. Just kind of like virtual spin wheel and then stream whatever game I get. Because that could be fun. I've got a lot of games that I've just never even played that I think would be probably fun. It would force me to look through my own game collection. That would be nice. What else? I guess that's kind of it. Alongside that, I do have some other personal stuff though that I want to get dealt with first too. Not anything too crazy. It's just kind of that I want to wait and like make sure some stuff is like done with. There's the whole thing I've mentioned. I kind of mention it a lot on stream, but then haven't really been able to explain it yet. But the whole thing with that doxing thing, I'm still kind of waiting on that to get all fixed. There's some other things that I'm kind of waiting to make sure they went all right. So a lot of stuff like that. And even though it's stuff that doesn't really affect the channel, it's stuff that kind of like stresses me out a little bit because it's like, I hate having to wait for stuff. I hate having to wait for like answers for stuff. I don't want to sound impatient. I usually am patient with a lot of things, but like serious things, I'm pretty impatient with. So yeah. By the time that the Christmas stream for this year comes around later in the year, it probably will be the new Call of Duty will come out. I think Black Ops 7, is it? I think. So that'll be cool. I maybe will play that if I own it by then. I don't know. It's kind of early to tell. I am very curious about Black Ops 7 though. I think Black Ops as a Call of Duty sub-series got really weird for a while there. And then finally, with Cold War and Black Ops 6, they've sort of started explaining the connections between the weird games and the games that came before. So that's been good. And I'm really curious to see what Black Ops 6 does. Because Black Ops 6 appears to be a more direct sequel to Black Ops 2, which was the futuristic Call of Duty Black Ops, if you don't know. So I think it will bridge the gap between Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, which is a pretty big gap that needs to be bridged. Black Ops 3 is a weird game in Call of Duty, because like it's a Black Ops game, but it has almost nothing seemingly to do with like the other Black Ops games. So I think even with Black Ops 6, they kind of tried to start explaining some of it, because there's a lot about like mind control in Black Ops 3, and in Black Ops 6 there's some of that as well. And I think that Black Ops 6 has some kind of weird missions and like odd stuff going on, and I think that it kind of connects a little bit to what's going to be like to what happened in the future in Black Ops 3. So yeah. God, that's a lot of words. My throat is getting dry from all this talking. Yeah. Oh, another story that I just remembered that I wanted to mention on stream too. I won $40 the other day. That was really cool. If you guys remember a while ago, I talked about how there's a casino that's not that close to me, but like I realized that it was actually not as far as I thought it was. No, first off, I feel like this is one of those things that like it's important to be like, you know, if you need help with gambling, or if you have like trouble with like problem gambling, you know, obviously don't go to a casino. But and also like I'm not trying to like encourage you guys to go gamble. Gambling can be, you know, gambling is a game of chance, and you are not always going to win. So just remember that. But anyway, I went to that casino again just because like I don't know, I don't like, I try myself to not really waste that much money on gambling and stuff, but it is nice to do sometimes. I feel like for me, like I'm so interested in video games and stuff that like casino machines and slot machines and stuff are sort of another type of video game, even though, as I said, you know, you can lose money gambling, so don't go like spending your whole paycheck at the casino. but I just think it's kind of interesting because it's a very specific subset of video games in a lot of ways. Um, and so, long story short, though, I wanted to go to the casino because I'd been in that casino a few times, but not really like actually. It was usually like, oh crap. It was usually like every time I went to this casino, it was just kind of like a passing thing. Like my goal was not specifically to go to that casino. But I decided, I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna take a little bit of money and I'm gonna actually just go to the casino and just play the games. So I took like $100, not like a crazy huge amount, but like enough to actually sit there and play for a while. And I played for a while. Like I said, I made sure also to not sit on any like specific games for a long period of time. For some reason, YouTube has been suggesting me a lot of like gambling videos with like streamers and like gambling shorts and stuff. And something that I've noticed is that like a lot of the people in these videos will just sit on like one machine and dump money into it, and I don't really think that's a good idea. Especially because like the whole return to player way that a lot of slot machines and stuff work, it's just not going to be profitable if you hit like a jackpot and then you continue to play. Like sometimes they'll pay out more than once, but like a lot of the times just the way they work, it's like I don't know, slot hopping seems to be the strategy that works for me. But anyway, I did that. I just kind of went around and I would put like 3 or 4 spins at minimum bet on like any games that seemed interesting. And I didn't really win anything for a while, but then like I won like 20 or 30 bucks on a machine, which put me up on like the 20 bucks that I had put in that round, but I was already down like 40 bucks, and then I hit a pretty good bonus on this one that had a pig. It's one of those things like it's hard to tell sometimes because slot machines are built, a lot of them are built differently. Like some of them, nothing that you see on screen actually matters or indicates like if it's about to pay out or whatever, but some of them it does. There's one that had a pig, and like the pig on the top screen of the machines, some of them like looked like it was about to burst. And so long story short, I went and I played one of the ones that looked like the pig was about to burst, and like first spin hit a bonus and won like 30 bucks or whatever, which put me up by like 5 bucks in total or something like that. And then I went and I kind of wandered around and played a little while more, and then there was another one of the same machine in kind of the same state, and the same exact thing happened where I played one spin and then I won a bonus again. But on that one, I actually won a good, like a pretty good chunk. I didn't win anything crazy, but I won like 70 bucks. So by the time that was all said and done, I was up by like 40 bucks, and I was like, hey, that's pretty good. I'm gonna leave. But then crazy enough, so I have to drive to another state whenever I want to go gamble, because it's not legal in the state that I live in. But there are like the skill slot machines. A lot of the times they're called like Pennsylvania slots, because I guess a lot of like places in Pennsylvania will have them because they skirt around Pennsylvania's gambling laws. I don't live in Pennsylvania, but I live in a state that also, you know, no gambling normally. So I've played those a few times. They're usually at like gas stations or whatever, and I've never really won anything other than like $1 or $2. But I decided to just like put like a 5 into the one that I found at a gas station on the way back, and I ended up winning another 20 bucks. So like I had a pretty good day. That was nice. I didn't win like a crazy amount of money, but like my little drive was paid for, and like so was my lunch and everything, so I really couldn't complain. But yeah, I guess that's the end of that story. But something I've been thinking about though, in terms of like slot machines and stuff, and by the way, if any of you guys don't like me to talk about this topic, I know this is another one of these topics that like sometimes I feel a little bit weird about talking on stream, because like I don't know, it's a little bit of a controversial thing in some ways. But you know, I was thinking about it, like, so Xenius Eye Vanisher is a website where you can look up arcade games and arcades. And that's how I was able to find out like some of the arcade games that I was looking for, where they were in my local area and stuff. It's mostly, I think it originated as like being for fighting games or something like that, but you can use it to find like pretty much any arcade game, and it's not always like the most perfectly updated or anything, but whatever, it works. But the thing that it had me thinking, right, was like, so Xenius Eye Vanisher exists for specifically for like arcade games. And as I was like playing slots and stuff a little bit, it had me thinking, you know, it's a little weird that there's nothing like that exists for slot machines. And I mean, I guess that like the audience is significantly different. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where, you know, I just want to reiterate again that I'm not trying to make gambling sound more lighthearted than it is, but just how gambling kind of is like a subset of video gaming in some ways. How I feel like there's a lot of stuff that exists for video games that doesn't exist for like slot machines, and there's a lot of stuff for slot machines that doesn't exist for video games. And I feel like because the audiences of those types of things are so different, that's maybe why there's not a lot of crossover, but that in actuality both industries could benefit a lot from things that exist in one or the other. So yeah, that's my point. I'm gonna stop talking about slot machines now. Did you guys know, I found out recently, you know, via some more things that I managed to see through my job. Did you guys know that there was a sequel to American Psycho? I didn't know this either till recently. I just watched the first American Psycho a couple weeks ago. It's an alright movie. It's kind of interesting. I thought it came out earlier than it did. I didn't realize that it came out the year that it did. It's one of those things like I'm glad that I finally watched it. And I do think it's a good movie. In some ways, though, I do think a lot of the things that I've seen about it, though, I think sometimes people overthink a lot about it, though. But anyway, so I watched it and I thought it was pretty cool. Well, via my job, I found out about American Psycho 2, which is apparently a sequel that it's one of those situations where it's a sequel that like almost nobody who worked on the first one worked on the second one. But yeah, it seems kind of interesting and I may watch it soon. Apparently it like takes place after the first, well, it, of course, takes place after the first movie, and I don't really think this is a spoiler because it's like on the Wikipedia summary, but I guess it's supposed to be that the movie starts with like the main character is a girl and she's like she's got her babysitter, and like Patrick Bateman goes on like a date with her babysitter and like murders her babysitter, but then she like murders Patrick Bateman from the first movie and then becomes like another psycho. So I guess that's how American Psycho 2 starts. I don't know. It seems odd. I really am curious about it. And then another weird movie sequel that I found out existed. Well, I kind of knew this one existed because I when I had the first one recommended to me, they also said don't watch the second one. But Donnie Darko has a sequel called S Darko, and I think that this one is not as hard to find because I think it's right on Netflix. But it follows Donnie's sister, like, after she is older. And I want to watch that one as well. That one seems kind of interesting. That one, I know that it's another situation where, like, a bunch of people, it's like a bunch of different people who didn't work on the first movie made the second movie. But, that actually seems like it might be pretty cool. Because I think it gets a lot of, it focuses on a lot of the same stuff the first movie did. And also, I guess, has some more, like, time travel, which is really interesting. I kind of like time travel movies. So, Back to the Future is, like, one of my favorite movies. And I also watched In Time when I was in grad school. I remember thinking that was kind of cool. And, what was the other one? There was another time travel movie I watched. I can't remember. Oh, Looper. That one was cool, too. I keep forgetting that I'm playing this on Xbox instead of PlayStation because I'm just so used to playing Black Ops Cold War. I've actually played. This is one of those games that I haven't really thought about it that much, but I've played this game a lot, especially with like playing it every year on the Christmas stream and stuff.
Raptor 1 is nearby, strike team. Exfil window is short, so take it now if you're ready.
Trying to think if I had any more channel updates to talk about, but I can't really think of anything. We're very nearly at 900 subscribers still. I mentioned that on the stream before, although funny enough, my subscriber number has actually decreased by like 2 since then, so it might still be a little while before we hit 900 subscribers. I know it's tough because like I haven't really been making any videos. I've just been kind of doing streams where I just sort of come on here and ramble about my life. Yeah, so if you're not subscribed and you're enjoying the stream or you're watching the archive of it, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because 900 subscribers, do another update video. I don't really have anything too special planned, but 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna do some cool stuff, I think. So, yeah. One future video idea that I'd like to try to work on soon too, it's kind of a playthrough but not exactly. So a while back I did a set of videos where I played through all the Club Penguin PSA missions, and that was actually like a pretty long time ago now I think about it. Like it was like 5 years ago or something at this point. But that was a really fun set of videos to do actually, and those videos did pretty well. So Communist Penguin. Communist Penguin is a Club Penguin mod, which modifies some of the PSA missions. It was made by, I believe it was Charlotte, who developed CPSC and Bin 2000, or Bin 3000? I don't remember what Bin's name exactly is. I think they were the only two that worked on it. But yeah, it replaces like a bunch of the dialogue in the missions and like edits some of the sprites and stuff. And so I mean to do a playthrough of that at some point, because I think it would be funny, and also like I don't think that many people have seen it, because it's one of those things like, you know, sometimes like if you watch a lot of gaming YouTube, you might watch like YouTubers who specifically play mods because you're too lazy to go through and like download all that stuff yourself. I feel like that's a situation that Communist Penguin finds itself in, that it's actually kind of like the most, currently, I think the most in-depth, Club Penguin mod, but also it's like a sentence like that kind of, it's like, who cares? You know? I don't think, like, most of the world's population is probably unaware that Club Penguin modding is a thing. So... yeah, and those videos I don't even think would be that hard for me to make either, because it's still the same missions, so like if I get stuck or whatever, I could look at a tutorial, and none of those missions are particularly long. They're like 10 minutes or so. I don't remember how long the videos are the first time I did them, but yeah, it's something that I want to play it, and I think a lot of people would want to see it, and I also am in need of like making some videos. So I think it would kind of solve a handful of problems all at once. But, yeah. But, okay, something kind of weird about me with making videos and making any sort of stuff is that sometimes, something that screws me up when I want to make something is that I feel weird about, like, the surrounding world. Sometimes it makes me feel weird if I make a video or something at the same time as, like, something else happening. I don't know why. I think it's just, like, a little anxiety thing, but it's just, like... okay, if you guys have been watching the channel for long enough, you may remember that I had a video that I made and then deleted eventually where, long story short, without getting into too many details, because I don't want to give too much personal info away and I don't want to bring back something that's like hurtful for a lot of people, but there was a famous person who passed away, who lived in an area relatively close to where I was living at the time, and that person was murdered, and I made a video unknowingly. It was like an hour-long video. It was just me playing a game, and I uploaded it, and I ended up finding out after the fact that that famous influencer who lived near me was murdered during the time span when I was making that video. Which, sorry to get really morbid all of a sudden, but my point is, yeah, so, like, pretty much during the, like, hour that I was making this video was the time that that person was murdered in, which made me feel really, really weird, to think that, like, when you're watching this video, like, you know, that video, it's like, I think I started recording that video, like, 7 a.m. and ended at, like, the video ended by, like, 8 a.m., and it just freaked me out to think that, like, as you watch that video, you could see the clock, because it was video I'd recorded on my computer, like, you could see the clock in the corner of my computer, and just to think that, like, somebody got murdered during the time when I was recording that video. So anyway, that kind of, I think, screwed me up a little bit with, like, recording videos. So sometimes when I feel anxious about stuff, like I was saying about, like, the whole doxing thing, or, like, some various other stuff that I'm just kind of waiting to get done with, it can make me feel weird to make new videos because of stuff like that, of like concurrent events, which is, it's really stupid, and I realize that, but yeah, it's just like, I think when you kind of experience something like that, it can really, like, upset you, so yeah. Yeah, that was such a freaky thing. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I don't really like to talk about it, but yeah, that really, that whole event kind of sounds like I got a text. Did I get a text? Actually, where is even my phone? Wait, for real, where did I? Oh, here it is. No, I did not. Sometimes my girlfriend will watch my streams. And I wanted to make sure she wasn't texting me saying, like, hey, shut up. Stop talking about that. Yeah. But yeah, something like that can really kind of mess with your head a little bit, especially, like, being kind of a fellow content creator, even though, you know, a much smaller one than they were. Yeah. Uh-oh. Looks like that's the end of the stream. Alright, well, that bounced in topics all throughout the stream. Although, man, a lot of people have tuned in. 12 views? I know that's not, like, a huge number of views in YouTube terms, but for one of my streams, that's a lot of views all at the same time. I wonder if the title got some people coming in. But, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and thank you if you're watching the archived version of this as well. I hope you guys have a very nice day. I'm gonna keep working on stuff on, you know, just real life and in YouTube world and everything. And I will see you in other stuff in the future, and bye-bye.